This is where we had our main sweat lodge during Yellow Thunder Camp, down below the community kitchen and the what we call the ghetto and the security shack. And in the kind of a mound directly in front of me is where our fire pit was, and then an altar, and then the sweat lodge was up that way. I don't know if you can see that the broken up pieces of those orange clay pigeons, but you can see that we use this area to pray, and since we left now other people have come from town and they use it for a lot of other reasons other than praying. But of course we're the ones that this colonial government wanted to try and remove from here. We're the ones who are supposed to be so bad for this place. I got the idea to make this one when I was filming the video over at the Sundance grounds, the old Yellow Thunder Camp Sundance grounds, and the thing that was in my mind at that time that I wanted to put in here is how subjugated and colonized most of our people are today. We had sweat sometimes every day, pretty regular down here during the camp, and it was just a small handful of us that normally would come down here to sweat on a regular basis, and who would haul rocks here and cut wood for the sweat and everything, except for when word would get out that some non-Indian visitors were going to come in a sweat. Then you have a lot of guys come down here to play Indian. Same thing would happen whenever there was usually only a couple of women who could run sweats for the women. So whenever women needed a sweat and for whatever reason there's nobody here to run one for them, usually Smokey is the one who ran the mixed sweats, and then we'd get just about every guy in camp coming down here, and they'd a lot of times wouldn't even know the songs, but they'd just kind of make noises, make sure their voice was heard, and come out, and then come out of the sweat, and then right over in here it wasn't so thick, jump in the lake right here and make sure and Akusha real loud so that the women could hear them and they could show off. And as far as that goes with the women, I guess that's just kind of a male thing that's got nothing to do with culture, race, colonization, or nothing. But when we'd have white people, non-Indian people down here, and people would want to come down and show off, that's a totally different thing. And I know that a lot of non-Indian people wouldn't understand why some people don't want non-Indians in our ceremonies. But for over 500 years now, the Europeans have worked at subjugating us and colonizing us and putting themselves above us. And no matter how loud Indian might talk today, the majority of people, if you watch them, they seem to have a need to please a white man or to get approval from the white man. And we kind of need to get away from that, but then we need a chance. This is just my personal opinion. We need to be able to get away from the non-Indians and the non-Indian influence to try and straighten ourselves and our thinking out, reevaluate our priorities, and to decolonize ourselves and to kind of get ourselves back on track. And it seems like whenever a non-Indian comes into a sweat lodge or a sun dance or any kind of ceremony, that for a vast majority of the people, even though none of them would admit to it, the focus leaves the ceremony or the purpose of that ceremony, and the focus goes on to the non-Indian that's in there. Whether it's maybe one guy might have hatred or some other type of negative feelings, or another one maybe next to him, maybe that next guy wants to impress the non-Indian. But whatever the varying reasons may be, it just changes the focus and the feeling and the spirit to that ceremony. And then too, there's a lot of Indians who won't even come around if there's non-Indians there for whatever reason. And so for non-Indians, I don't mean to offend anyone, and that's just one aspect of that scenario, but there's a lot of things that you need to understand about our reality today. That here, because Grandpa Fool's Crow told us this is a holy place, everyone has to be welcome and treated equally, and then we honored what he told us. But at the same time, we've been through a lot, and for non-Indians, they need to understand and respect that, in my never so humble opinion. And for Indian people, we just need to get ourselves realigned with the natural world and with the divine instructions that we were given, and to get our focus back where it should be as Indigenous people.